Up to the mid-1900s, Ocean County was seen as just another rural town in New Jersey. However, as the Garden State Parkway began to spread, Ocean County's population boomed. From 1960 to 1970, this increase was at about 100%, being the largest in the nation. This brought popularity to the area, leading to a spread in business and in wealth. With this, it also attracted unsavory groups, for this drastic change led to an unpreparedness in the police force. Although Ocean County has a long history of organized crime, it was only at this time that it hit its peak. And this is that story.
You already? I wasn't planning for this. Oh my gosh. Is it already that day? Alright. We'll start. So, today, as you know, is the talk on the organized crime in Ocean County. As I had mentioned before, a majority of its influence didn't start until about the 1960s and 70s. However, I'd like to take a step back and look at the history about when the Mafia originally came into contact in Ocean County. Now let's begin. So, in 1920s, a lot of things socially had began to change. Women were finally granted the right to vote, and with that, they grew in power. They were able to influence lawmakers to pass the Prohibition Act, which officially made all production of alcohol illegal. Now with this, organized crime groups began to develop. In hopes for power to spread throughout the nation, they became more competitive with one another, and some families were as successful as conquering the East Coast. And with that, Ocean County was one of those spots. See, if you take a step over to the Pinelands around Berkeley area, you'll see this 10-story tall building. And at that time, it was known as the Royal Pines Hotel. It was designed by W. Archegevsky, and it was constructed by B.W. Sangor Corporation. And it wasn't officially completed until 1929. However, this construction of the hotel followed the market crash of 1929, which led to a slow business. Not many people were going out and vacationing. It was, the Great Depression. So this ended up growing, and it drew in only hoodlums and bootleggers from around the tri-state area trying to make a quick buck. See, this area was really great for these bosses. It was really easy. It was the same amount of distance to Atlantic City as it was to New York City. So it became very popular, and it actually brought many infamous people, such as Al Capone, in the area. And in that hotel in particular, they established a 2,500 gallon still in the interior of the hotel.
Mid-1930s, the hotel was remodeled into a mental hospital after it was sold. The mafia groups slowly funneled their way out of Ocean County as police groups rose in number. And past the Prohibition era,
the time of bootlegging had died down, and Ocean County ended up returning back to the rural hotspot it was once known as. It wasn't until the 1970s, however, as previously mentioned, when the rural hotspot became bustling with crime once again. With a report by the state of New Jersey in 1972, investigators cracked down in Ocean County on a large mafia ring, which held ties in Lakewood. In 1969, as the report had said, Herbert Gross, a hotel operator and real estate man, was indicted in an extortion case. He later pleaded guilty and was sentenced to prison. Now you may be asking, well, what's this guy have to do with the mob? Gross had deep ties with the mob as an unofficial member of the crime family. After spending a few years in prison, Gross began informing authorities on the workings of persons involved in the underworld in hopes of cutting his sentence short. Gross used his connections to Palmer J. Herbert, who was the captain of detectives in Ocean County Prosecutor's Office, and he spoke upon those playing leading roles in the area. Don DiGilio, a Hudson County mobster who had ties with the Genovese family, had been exerting considerable influence in Ocean County, with roles such as a bribery extortion scheme and the distribution of illegal liquor licenses. With Gross's connection to the Hudson County area and New York City mob families grew their influence into the Ocean County area. However, as the 1970s and 80s grew on, more families have been busted as the rise in police force has grown. However, to this day, with busts such as Gatto, which is not in Ocean County, the mobsters have dwindled down and concentrated themselves back into the powers that they once have been in New York City and in those big cities such as Chicago. In Ocean County, influences of organized crime is no more.